Captain Garrow of the Death Guard reports that he is in position. Show them what war really is.
You heard, Lord Eidolon? Children of the Emperor!
Today we're going to be painting one of my favorite legions, the Emperor's Children. The Emperor's Children were my first legion when I got into the Horus Heresy. I was immediately drawn to their lore, their aesthetic, and especially their rapid, tragic fall from grace. With the launch of 2nd edition, they received a visual update. The armor shifted to a much darker purple, with black becoming a primary accent color, giving the legion a darker feel that perfectly reflects where they're heading in the story. I love the new scale plastic infantry kits, and rebuilding my Emperor's Children force with the new models and new color scheme has been a lot of fun. Because the Legion holds such a dear place in my heart, I wanted to do something truly special for their painting guide, so I brought in some help. I had been following Anphiarus' work for many years on Instagram, and his reputation in the community is more than deserved. He's been part of the hobby for decades, and that experience shows in every piece he creates. Beyond his obvious technical skill as a sculptor, what truly sets him apart is his deep understanding of the Warhammer aesthetic. Everything he produces looks and feels like an official model, perfectly in theme, perfectly in character. His work has this rare quality where it blends seamlessly into the range, yet still feels special. And when it comes to character work, he is simply unrivaled. That made Anphiarus the perfect choice to re-sculpt Lord Commander Eidolon for my new Emperor's Children army. And the result completely exceeded my expectations. He didn't just upscale the model, he masterfully modernized it, preserving everything that made the original sculpt so iconic while seamlessly bringing it into the new scale. The work is so subtle and tastefully done that many people wouldn't even notice the changes. I couldn't be happier with how the Lord Commander turned out. We'll also be painting a tactical support squad using the new Mark II Space Marines. These Marines are structured very similarly to the existing tactical Marines. I built them with their flamers left off for ease of painting, and I used a head from the Forge World Mark VI helmet set for the Sergeant to help him stand out and add a bit of Legion character to the squad. I start with a Chaos Black primer. I make sure to hit all surfaces of the models. Moving to the airbrush, I begin with a full base coat of Phoenician purple, covering all of the armor. Once that's down, I switch to Chemos purple and apply a second, lighter pass, concentrating on the upper surfaces and raised areas. With our purple down, I switch to a brush and begin blocking in the remaining base colors. Using a Baden black, I paint all of our black details: trim, pouches, belts, and Vox antennas. Next, I move to Celestra Gray, applying a solid base coat to all of the white surfaces, such as Eidolon's cape, tabard, shoulder pauldrons, and helmet plume. For the silver metallics, I use Ironbreaker, painting all of the silver details: armor joints, power pack components, cabling, venting, the Vexilla, and Nuncio Vox details. I then switch to Corn Red and lay in the first layer on our red areas: Eidolon's knife scabbards, Thunderhammer hilt, the Sergeant's helmet plume, the Nuncio Vox helmet antenna, and the Vox lenses. Using Caliban Green, I hit the green elements, which are mostly helmet lenses, frag grenades, and additional Nuncio Vox details. Returning to the reds, I apply a loose highlight of Mephiston Red over all of the Corn Red. I then do the same for the greens using Warboss Green. And for the blacks using Eschen Gray, keeping these highlights broad and simple at this stage. Back with Ironbreaker, I pick out the studs on Eidolon's tassels. For the whites, I apply a second layer using White Scar. And after brushing this onto the cape, I return to the airbrush and spray a light coat of Vallejo White to really push the brightness and smooth the finish. Finally, I use Nuln Oil to wash down all of the previous layers. This slightly darkens the tones and settles into the recesses, giving the model its first real sense of depth and definition. By painting all of the areas that require a black wash first, and then applying one large sweeping wash, you save a huge amount of time. It can be done quickly in a single, non-precise pass. On the white surfaces, you may want to add a little water to the wash to thin it down and prevent it from pooling too heavily. For vehicles, I follow the same Phoenician purple and Chemos purple base process, but instead of brushing on the Nuln Oil, I apply it through the airbrush, making sure to lay down a thin, even coat across the panels. Once the Nuln oil wash is fully dry, I switch to Retributor armor and begin picking out all of the gold details. This is where the models really start to look like Emperor's children. Eidolon in particular has a huge amount of gold filigree and ornamentation, so he takes a bit longer at this stage, whereas the tactical Marines go much faster with their simpler trim. On the line Marines, the gold is mostly limited to the belt buckles, helmet and pauldron trim, along with the Vexilla and Nuncio Vox details. The Mark II Marines are a fantastic addition to the Heresy range. They're quick and straightforward to paint like the Mark VI, but still retain some of the trim elements you get with the Mark III Marines, giving them a really nice balance of detail and efficiency on the table. Returning to Ironbreaker, I apply a rough highlight over all of the gold areas. This doesn't need to be a precise edge highlight. It's almost more like a controlled dry brush. The goal here is simply to introduce some variation and extra shine into the gold. I then use Agrax Earthshade to wash all of the gold details. This ties the previous two steps together and adds even more depth and definition. Watching the wash flow into Eidolon's filigree is one of those really satisfying moments where you can see the entire color scheme start to come together. Returning to Celestra Gray, I paint the base color on the ornamental wreath on Eidolon's shoulder and breastplate. And I also lay down the base coat on Eidolon's hair. I mount the head on a pin drill while working on it, which makes it much easier to handle and keeps the paint job clean. Staying with the head, I use Cadian flesh tone for the base skin tone, followed by a first highlight of Kislev flesh, focusing on the raised areas of the face. Next, using white scar, I apply a light dry brush over the hair and a very soft highlight over the skin, again concentrating on the raised facial features. For the metallic details on the head, I return to Ironbreaker to paint the neck joint and cabling before moving into the shading stage. Using Reichland Flesh Shade, I wash down Eidolon's skin. This blends the previous layers, settles into the facial details, and helps clearly define the transition between his scalp and the surrounding silver elements. Finally, I use Nuln oil to wash over all of the silver details and his white hair, deepening the contrast and bringing the whole head together. Then use Xandri dust to lay down the base coat on the Vexilla banner and Nuncio Vox skull. Once this is dry, I switch to Ushapti bone and apply a loose highlight across both pieces. After that, I move to White Scar for a finer highlight on the Vox skull and Vexilla, before returning to Eidolon and adding a bright highlight to the wreaths on his shoulder pauldron and breastplate. While working through these layers, I decided to match the Forge World Studio scheme on his knife hilts, so I switched back to Ironbreaker and repainted those silver. Next, I used Reichland Flesh Shade to wash down the Vexilla banner and Nuncio Vox skull, adding warmth and depth. Finally, I apply Nuln oil to the knife hilts and to the white wreaths on Eidolon's chest and shoulder, tying those details into the rest of the model and increasing contrast. To kit out our tactical support squad, we turn to the accessory sprue. I prefer to paint these while they're still on the cleaned and primed sprue for speed, though you can absolutely glue them on during assembly and paint them directly on the model if you prefer. Starting with Caliban Green, I paint the base color on the lugs of the frag grenades. I then use Warboss Green to highlight them for extra definition. These are the same greens we used earlier on the helmet lenses and Nuncio Vox. Next, using Ironbreaker, I paint all the silver details on the accessories, frag grenade levers, crack grenades, and the buckles on the holsters and pouches. For the black areas, I apply a loose highlight with Eshin Gray. Once that's done, I clip everything off the sprue, clean up any remaining connection points, touch up the paint where needed, and glue the accessories onto the models. After the glue has fully cured, I wash all of the accessories with Nuln oil. For the support squad flamers, I start by painting all of the silver parts with Ironbreaker. It's a tedious step, but far easier with the weapon off the model. Once the silvers are complete, I switch to Rune Lord Brass and pick out details on the flamers, the ring around the muzzle, and the trim on the Prometheum canister. I then paint the first layer on the hands with Phoenician purple. Once dry, I glue the flamers onto the Marines, making sure each weapon is correctly paired with its matching arm set. After everything is secure, I apply Xarius purple for the second layer on the hands, matching them to the rest of the armor. Using Retributor armor, I paint the Aquila charms and apply a dry brush highlight to the brass details. For the black areas, I again use Eshin Gray for a loose highlight, touching up any silver that may have overbrushed onto the black. I then use Ironbreaker to lightly dry brush the Aquila charms before moving into shading. Nolan oil for the flamers and hands, avoiding the gold. Agrax Earthshade for the gold Aquila charms. It's now time for transfers. The Emperor's Children have had 2 excellent transfer sheets. The original sheet includes 2 fantastic banner options, while the later sheet adds squad and favor markings, which I'm using here. To apply transfers, I cut them from the sheet and soak them in water until they loosen. I place a small amount of Walther's Solvacet onto the target surface, lift the transfer with an older brush, and slide it into position. Using my hobby knife, I carefully nudge the transfer into perfect alignment. Once fully dry, I apply a second layer of Solvacet over the top to lock everything into place. While it's tempting to glue Eidolon's jump pack on at this stage, I leave it off for easier basing. Like the rest of my Heresy collection, these models use a simple dirt base. I brush PVA glue over the base and dip the model into a light sand mix. Once the glue is dried, I paint the gravel with a thick coat of dryad bark to both color and seal it. This is followed by a second layer of Mournfang brown, then a light dry brush of Ushabti bone. I wash the base with Reikland flesh shade to blend the browns together, and finally paint the rim with Steel Legion drab, usually requiring 2 coats for clean coverage. Now we can finally glue on Eidolon's head and jump pack, a very satisfying moment, and where the model truly comes to life. For weathering, I use a light, slightly yellow weathering powder and apply it to the lower sections of the armor and the base. This subtly blends the model into the terrain and simulates dust and debris kicked up as they advance across the battlefield. To finish, I seal everything with a spray of Tester's Dull Coat, unifying the finish and protecting the paintwork for regular gameplay. Our Emperor's Children are now complete and ready to deploy to Istvan III. A huge thank you to Anphiarus for their incredible work in recreating Eidolon, and thank you all for watching. Be sure to stay tuned for more Istvan III Legion painting guides and an upcoming Mega Battle report, the largest and most ambitious project we've ever done on the channel.